ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। We started with the study on faith, Shraddha. The role of faith, Shraddha in thinking is what we are planning to is what we have to study. Three distinct faculties in a human being is what we saw last time when we met. Three distinct faculties. One is the ability to feel, is the ability to think, Great, it's ringing. Don't let me go. Don't. I think it's my phone that was ringing, no? Did you all hear a ringtone? You all heard a ringtone, no? I don't know. My phone is also not here. Anyway. Human beings are blessed with three. Human beings are blessed with three. The human beings are blessed with three distinct abilities, capacities. The first one is the capacity to feel, the ability to feel. The second one is the ability to reason, to think. Third one is the ability to trust. Three faculties are given to us. Now, all these faculties that are given to us must be effectively used for our spiritual growth, is the aim of Veda. The Vedas, the Vedanta, goes from the angle of how to make use of all these faculties for our own benefit. One is the feeling, second is the thinking, and another is the faith. Now, feeling, we have studied a lot. Emotions. Feeling means emotions. And we have studied emotions, about emotions a lot, etc. Also about thinking, we keep discussing in these classrooms a lot. But rarely do we talk about the third factor, the Shraddha. Rarely we talk about the Shraddha, the third factor, because predominantly the word Shraddha we are studying through English. We are trying to understand Shraddha through English language. And English language doesn't have a word for Shraddha. For them, you have to translate Shraddha as every Sanskrit word has to be translated in English. And there are a lot of words in every language that is non-translatable. Every language has a few words. It's not unique only to Sanskrit. It's not unique to Sanskrit. Every language has a few words that are non-translatables. One of the non-translatables is this. One of the non-translatable word that we have is Shraddha. Similarly, Brahman. Now we cannot translate Brahman as God. We cannot translate Brahman as consciousness also. We can neither translate Brahman as consciousness in English, neither we can translate Brahman as God in English. Then what do we do with it? We just use the word Brahman. Similarly, we go by the English, similarly, we go by the Sanskrit word Shraddha. So we restrict it to Shraddha. What is Shraddha means? A distinct ability in a human being to trust. Why a distinct ability to trust is given to a human being? If a human being can be logical and we can work our life through logic and reasoning, logic and reasoning can be perfect only if we are all knowing. If we become all knowing, if a person can become all knowing, then the logic and reasoning of that person will be perfect, complete. Otherwise, if all knowing is not a possibility, all our reasoning is always dependent on limited factors. Because we are operating upon limited factors, the conclusion that we come to also will be limited only. Therefore, we understand logic, reason has its own limitation. Emotion also has its own limitation. Even though emotions are a very important aspect of human life, that's why we say in Vedanta, we are not we are not drying up the emotion, we are only directing the emotion. Invariably, what happens is, because of the wrong approach to Vedanta, emotion gets dried up. So it's such a wrong thing that happens in the name of actually Vedanta cannot be blamed for that, but that's what happens. Like, for example, people say, sir, before coming to Vedanta, at least I had some bhakti. Now that is also gone, isn't it? Even before coming to Vedanta, at least I could love somebody, I could do a few things. Now I have only become a very good critic of. Now I can become a very good critic of everybody and know how to get angry at everything. That's all. It means I can become a very good critic of everything and everybody. It means the emotions are not. So a system of knowledge that aids our growth must take care of all the three things. For example, science takes care only of logic, reason, thinking. It will not consider emotions at all. It will not bother about. For them, trust is anti-science. Are you able to follow what I'm saying? For them, trust is anti-science. Faith means it is anti-science. Therefore, they say religion belongs to the realm of faith and we belong to the realm of logic and reason. Now, Vedanta also says we come under logic and reason. Now, what is the difference between the logic and reason of what the science says and what Vedanta says? If this distinction is understood rightly, then we can understand what Shraddha means. Are we okay till now? It's a bit, even for those who have been studying Vedanta for a very long time, also, this will be a new thought. Because nowhere, generally, it will not be discussed in the way that I'm going to discuss. Therefore, when we say Vedanta is logic and reason, scientific, science also says we are logic, reason, scientific. Are both the same? Both are not the same, because for the science, they have to negate the two basic other faculties of human being. What are the other two faculties that science should ignore completely? Science ignores completely: feelings, emotions, and trust. feelings, emotions, and trust must be ignored completely. That's why even when we go to a diagnosis, when a machine does a diagnosis and say something, we rely on that versus a doctor diagnosing something. Correct? When a doctor diagnoses something versus a machine diagnosing something. Now, what we will rely upon as an authority? What we will believe as an authority? The machine only. Why? Because the other two faculties are not required there. What are the other two faculties? You don't have to, the trust part is not required, the feelings part isn't there. As a result of which, what happens? Science doesn't aid in growth of a human being. Science aids in making the material aspect of life comfortable, but it doesn't aid in a growth of a human being. Therefore, when Vedanta says it is logic and reason and scientific, it has a unique meaning. It has a very unique meaning. In order to understand the unique meaning of Shraddha, first we need to understand what is the Vedantic meaning of theism and atheism. If I were to ask anybody here, if you have not heard me before, theist means one who believes in God. Atheist means one who don't believe in God. Isn't it? That's a natural meaning. That's what everybody, for Vedas, it is not the meaning. Theist means one who has Shraddha in the Vedas. Atheist means one who doesn't have Shraddha in the Vedas. Because God as an element is something which is, God as an element, to say that I believe or I don't believe has no. Therefore, atheism or theism is defined as in the conviction that you have in the Vedas or not. Theist means one who has Shraddha and conviction in the Vedas. Atheist means one who lacks conviction in the Vedas. What does it mean now? Now carefully follow. There are three type of sciences in philosophy itself. The three type. I'll give the Sanskrit name and then we'll do the elaboration also. The first one is called Tarka Janya Darshana. The second one is called Tarka Pradhana Darshana. The third one is Tarka Sammada Darshana. Three grades. One is called Tarka Janya. Another is called Tarka Pradhana. The third one is called Tarka Sammata. The Sanskrit word Tarka you all understand, correct? We all don't have a problem in understanding the Sanskrit word Tarka. Tarka is collectively used for logic, reason, analysis, etc. So, Tarka Janya means that which is born of logic. Second is Tarka Pradhana, means predominantly logical. Third one is they use logic. Tarka Sammata. They use logic. Again, one is predominantly logical. Sorry, one is purely born of logic and reasoning, which is called Tarka Janya. The second one is called Tarka Pradhana. The third one is called Tarka Sammata. Now, all these three I'll explain now. What is Tarka Janya means? First, they all believe in perception and reasoning. For them, Pratyaksha and Anumana. That's all. Those who believe in Pratyaksham and Anumanam, going by pure Pratyaksham and Anumanam, they arrive at their certain conclusions. So, those who arrive at conclusions based on purely Tarka and purely perception and inference, Pratyaksham and Anumanam, they are called Tarka Janya. It means what? They will not accept anything that is revealed. Are you able to follow? For them, they will not accept anything that is revealed. For them, they will not accept anything that is not perception based. Since it is not perception based, they will not believe in karma, they will not believe in punarjanma, they will not understand moksha, etc. One birth, one death, life in between. Happy. Science aids that. Are you able to follow? This is purely called Tarkajanya. Tarkajanya means purely born out of Pratyaksham and Anumanam. Therefore, they don't accept scriptures. Veda, they will not come anywhere near that. They will not accept Vedas at all as in any form of knowledge. They are called Tarka. Their own discoveries becomes the law to them. Their own discoveries are the law according to them. Somebody else will come and discover something else, then that becomes the law. The third person will come and discover something, that becomes the law. Isn't it? One fellow discovers something and gets a PhD. Another fellow comes and proves the fallacy in that discovery and he gets another PhD. And third fellow will come and point out the fallacy in both and this fellow will get another PhD. Are you able to follow? There is no law there. It is purely based on Pratyaksham and Anumanam. Now, if based on this understanding, you will find out all the worldly sciences, the materialistic sciences, and lot of philosophical systems, lot of religious systems in the world purely believe in perception and reasoning. This is called Tarka Janya. Shraddha is not at all required here because that which can't be seen that which can't be seen by the five senses doesn't exist. That's why everything they have to bring it under the purview of the five senses. That's why even the spiritual growth also has to be brought under the purview of the five senses, as in chakras, balancing chakras, something is happening in the body, something is happening, or everything has to be brought under perceptions. If everything is brought under perceptions, then they accept it. If you say it is beyond perception, like in Kenopanishad, Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate, will not be accepted at all by this. Are you able to follow till now? Is Shraddha required here? Shraddha is not at all required here. All that is required is what? It has to be communicated through the five senses. If it is communicated through the five senses or through mind and intellect, which is more of an inferential ability. Either through the senses or inference. Are you able to follow? Either through the senses or inference, you understand it. Then it is called Tarka Janya. Emotions will have no big play here. That's why science will reduce all emotions to chemical reactions in the brain. Isn't it? Science will reduce love and sacrifice to chemical reactions in the brain. Science will reduce consciousness and God to some reactions in the brain. Neuropsychology. I was studying some of it for the last 1 year. Little bit. Don't ask me why I'm studying all this because I have no other job to do. I'm studying all this. Isn't it? You are all so busy. You don't do all this. I have no work, so I sit and do. Everything has to be brought under the purview of the five senses, the brain. Are you able to follow? This is called Tarka Janya. Then comes the second, Tarka Pradana. What is the difference between the first and the second? In the second, they accept the Vedas. Tarka Pradana. But why do we call it as Tarka Pradana? Because Veda, Vedanta, will be given a stepmotherly treatment. Whenever convenient, it will be taken, and often it is rejected when it is inconvenient. This is Tarka Pradhana. Tarka Pradhana, because they give importance only to Tarka. So, whichever aspect, so most of the times what happens is this Tarka Pradhana is misunderstood as Vedanta. Because in Tarka Pradhana, predominance is given to logic and reason. Therefore, whatever is appealing to logic and reason, take it. Whatever is appealing to logic and reason, take it. Now, logic and reason is purely dependent upon sensory perceptions. Are you able to follow the fallacy in this idea? Vijay, புரியுதா ஏதாவது? தெரியல, புரியுதுன்னு நினைச்சு நான் பாட்டில் பேசின்னு இருக்கிறேன். I don't know. Ganesh, புரியுதா? Are you able to follow? For it to be predominantly logic and reasoning, it is purely dependent upon sensory perceptions. So, Vedanta most of the time is misunderstood as Tarka Pradhana. Tarka Pradhana means logic is given primary importance and the authority of the Veda is given subservient. The authority of the Veda is stepmotherly treatment, meaning wherever it appeals to logic and reason, borrow. If it doesn't appeal to logic and reason, discard it. This kind of Tarka Pradhana is very appealing to a lot of people. Why? Why it appeals to a lot of people? Because you are still the authority here, isn't it? You can pick and choose. You are the authority. Your ego likes it. Are you able to follow? Alpana. Are you able to follow what I'm saying? Tarka, in Tarka Pradhana, the problem in Tarka Pradhana is logic will be given primary importance and Veda will be given stepmotherly treatment. Are you able to follow? It means logic and reason is more authoritative than the authority of the Vedas. Are you able to follow? Again, I repeat, it's a very subtle difference that we are trying to draw here. Tarka Pradhana means, though they accept Vedas, primary factor is what? Veda is not accepted as an absolute authority. Primary authority is what? Still logic and reason only. Are you able to follow? Logic and reason is primary, but some portions of the Vedas will be accepted and some portion of the Vedas will be rejected, because some portion of the Veda is appealing, some portion of the Veda is not appealing. Are you able to follow? This kind is called Tarka Pradhana. Veda is accepted, but Veda is not given the Shraddha, Veda is not given the authority of the Pramanam. In the first two, Veda doesn't have the Vedanta, doesn't have the authority of Pramanam. In the first, materialistic sciences is the Pramanam. In second, Vedanta will be borrowed but it will not be treated as an absolute Pramanam. Yes.
So are you saying that the Shastric reasoning, if it is appealing to the Pratyaksham and Anumanam, then only it is acceptable?
Yes.
Are you saying like that?
Yeah, what she is asking is the Shastric reasoning appealing to
the Pratyaksha
Pramanam and Anumana Pramanam, then only it is acceptable.
Is it like that?
Yes, it is like that. That is why so many things the Shastra says, Veda says, we are not able to accept it as a law. Are we able to follow? Why are we not able to accept Veda as a law? Why are we not able to accept Vedanta as the law? Even though we keep saying it is the law of life and living. It's the law of life and living. Why are we not able to accept it? Is because the Pramanam Veda is not Veda, or Vedanta is not given the status of a Pramanam. For Pramanam is still logic and reason. Are you okay till now? Therefore, Vedanta must come under Pratyaksha Anumana Pramana. The third one is where we start. That's where beautifully we start at the third level. What is it? Tarka Sammada. Tarka Sammada means not logic is predominant. Logic is not predominant here. Shraddha becomes predominant here. But that Shraddha will be supported by logic and reason. Are you able to follow the difference? Here, Tarka Sammada means Veda and Vedanta will be given the status of a Pramanam. Very difficult to give the status of Pramanam to the Veda. Why? Because we are so used to giving Pramanam to the senses and the mind and intellect. How do we understand that? Remember, we spoke about it in the last class also. For color and form, for color and form, I is the only Pramanam. Now, all the logic and reason will support the I as the only authority for color and form. This is called Tarka Sammada. Are you able to follow now? All the logic and reason that we gave will necessarily has to support I as the only authority for color and form. Then only it is called Tarka Sammada Pramana. Supposing if we say, no, there are multiple sources for color and form. Of the multiple sources for color and form, I is one. Can we say that? No. For color and form, there is only one Brahmanam, and that is the I. Do we have blind faith in the I, or is dependency on the I through logic and reason? Again, I am asking the question. Are you able to follow the question? Do we say I have blind faith in the I, or is my conviction on the knowledge that is given by the I logic and reasonable? Conviction in the I, is it a blind faith or logic and reason? It is logic and reason only. Correct? Exactly the same status is given to Vedas. Therefore, Shraddha means accepting Veda as a Pramanam. Are you able to follow? Accepting Veda as a Pramanam. Therefore, to actually understand it, Tarka is used. So, therefore, where is logic and reasoning used in? Where is logic and reasoning used in Vedas? Where do we use logic and reason? We use logic and reason to interpret it. Are you able to follow? The words of the Vedas is interpreted through logic and reason, but it is not a conclusion arrived through logic and reason. Are you able to follow the difference? It is not a conclusion arrived through logic and reason. For the 1 and 2, the conclusion is arrived through logic and reason. For the third, the conclusion is not arrived through logic and reason. The conclusion is explained by logic and reason. It is called Tarka Sammada. If you understand it like this, then the Shraddha, then Vedas, Vedanta will become a Pramanam. Once we give status of Vedas a Pramanam, then they become an authoritative source of knowledge, because the purpose of the purpose of knowledge is to reveal something to us. Correct? The purpose of the purpose of a Pramanam is to reveal something to us. Purpose of eyes is to reveal color and form. The purpose of ear is to reveal sound. The purpose of mind is to reveal feelings. The purpose of intellect is to reveal logic reasoning. What is it that the Vedas is revealing? What is it that the Vedas is revealing? That which all the others can't reveal. That which the senses and that which the others can't reveal, Vedas reveal. Therefore, the conclusion is what? It is not a blind faith in, it is not trust or blind faith in the Vedas. Vedas is treated as an authoritative source of knowledge. When it has to be an authoritative source of knowledge, it has to stand the test of logic and reason, and Vedanta stands the test of logic and reason. Is the sequence clear? Knowledge means it has to reveal something. Knowledge means it has to reveal something. And what can knowledge reveal? Eyes reveal the knowledge of color and form. Mind reveals the knowledge of emotions. Intellect reveals logic and reason. Similarly, what does the Shastra reveal? What does Vedanta reveal? What does the Veda reveal? That which cannot be revealed by these, the Vedas reveal. Life is so wonderful, life is so beautiful that it has not kept multiple sources of revelation. If it has kept multiple sources of revelation, it will be utterly chaotic. See from this angle also. If there are multiple sources of revealing factors, life will be chaotic. Because if color and form can be revealed by eyes and the nose, what will happen? When all combined gives a complete knowledge. When everything combines will give us a ultimate knowledge. And that ultimate knowledge becomes the knowing fact. So what does Vedas reveal? What does Vedanta reveal? The Vedanta reveals us that which the others cannot reveal. Are we all okay till now? Okay, Papa? Yeah, tell me.
First you said Pratyaksha Pramana and Anumana Pramana.
Yes.
Then you are saying logic and reason.
Yes.
And then you said Veda.
Yes.
So, so is this logic and reason, is it common to Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana Pramana and Veda? Or logic and reason are different from Veda and Pratyaksha Pramana and Anumana Pramana? Otherwise, really hard.
Now the clarification that she is asking is logic and reason in Anumana Pramanam, logic and reason in Vedanta also.
Is logic and reason common to Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana Pramana and Veda? I mean, the term logic and reason, do they follow logic?
No.
Their own logic, it may be, but
the word logic is the same. The methodology is very different. That's what I'm trying to arrive at. But the word logic is the same. Because the word logic is the same, we should not say both are same. For the first two is predominantly relying upon for intellect to function, senses has to provide data. Correct? Therefore, Pratyaksha Pramanam and Anumana Pramanam always goes together. For us to infer, for intellect to infer, it needs data. And who's the data provider? The senses. Therefore, the senses are the data providers. Intellect puts it in an order and makes some sense out of it. And says, I understand. Now, when it puts it into order, we call it as logic, reason, etc. When it puts into order. Now, when it comes to Vedas, Vedas makes a statement. Veda makes a statement, dharma. For example, Veda make a statement, dharma. Now, this dharma is not revealed through the senses, or this dharma is not revealed through senses, and Pratyaksham and Anumanam doesn't reveal dharma. Are you able to follow? But then, what Vedas have done it, when it talks about dharma, it can say blindly trust there is this thing called dharma and follow. Are you able to follow? It can say blindly trust, or it can, whatsoever doubt comes regarding it, it can answer all the doubts. Because it is has the capacity to answer all the doubts, we call it as tarka sammata. Supposing if it cannot answer the doubts and says, no, don't ask any question, simply accept. Or will follow? Because it is able to answer all possible questions that can come about, and when it is answering, it has
its own logic and reason.
It doesn't use Pratyaksham and Anumanam as the data. It uses data from the Shastra only to elaborate. Therefore, because of the English word logic and reason, scientific, we are using for both, it got so intertwined.
So can I say Veda is using Shastric logic and reason? I can say like that.
Vedas is Shraddha. That Shraddha is explained. We will not say Veda is using logic and reason. We say Veda is Shraddha. But that any question that you come up with, they will be able to answer. When they are answering, they are following a method. But what is the basic pramanam here? The basic pramanam is not logic and reason. The basic pramanam is Shraddha. Are you able to follow? There, Shraddha is not the basic pramanam. Proposition to logic, reason, conclusion. Here it is very different. It's a very, very subtle difference. And it will be utterly confusing. I can understand it. It can be very confusing because we are so used to using the word logic and reason in a very generic way. And what is meant by logic and reason in one branch of science, we started using it in the same meaning for Vedas, for Vedanta also. Are you able to follow? For Pratyaksham and Anumanam, it is Pratyaksham and Anumanam. They don't accept any revelation, they don't accept any scriptures there. Here, we accept scripture as an independent source of knowledge. It is purely Shraddha based.
So the reasoning that is sequentialized and given, that sequentialized reasoning is not called logic and reason.
We call it Shraddha. Tarka Sammata. Shraddha is predominant, Tarka is aid. For other two, Tarka, logic is predominant, Shastra is an aid. Here we are reversing it. Able to follow? Here we are reversing it. Here we are keeping Shastra as the primary source of knowledge, and logic and reason, we are using it as a secondary source. For other two, logic and reason is the primary source. That's why even the words of the Vedas also we say, as long as it stands the test of logic and reason, accept it. Otherwise, don't accept it. We only say that. That is only used to say, only told for a limited angle of don't get very emotional. That's all. Instead of being emotional, don't. It has a very limited usage there, but it should not be construed as something that is so much the capacity. Why we are discussing all this is we want to understand how Shraddha is a pramanam by itself. I'm making an effort to explain how Shraddha is an independent pramanam as Pratyaksham and Anumanam. Just as Pratyaksham and Anumanam is an independent authoritative sources of knowledge, I'm making an impossible effort which most don't make. I'm taking the risk of making it. Trying to explain how this is an independent source of, this is a pramanam by itself, which unconnected to the other two. Are you able to follow? What is the proof? Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. We quote all of the Upanishads, we quote Bhagavad Gita, we quote everything. Shraddhavan labate, jnanam, etc. All this we quote. Are you able to follow? Is it okay?
So you are saying Pratyaksham and Anumanam are one set of Pramanam, then Veda is another set of
Pramanam. Correct.
Pratyaksham and Anumanam is using logic and reason predominantly.
Yes.
And Veda is using Shraddha predominantly.
Shraddha predominantly. For Veda, Shraddha is predominant. Not logic and reason. For Veda, Shraddha is predominant. But in the modern day, it is, people find it very, very, I don't know, they feel very inferior to use the word Shraddha and feel very comfortable to use the word logic and reason. Why? Because Shraddha means faith, faith means blind, blindness means inferior. But we are all logical, smart people here, therefore we don't have that. Are you able to follow? Therefore, people find it more comfortable to say that I am scientific than Shraddha based. Supposing if somebody asks me, are you logical based or Shraddha based? I'll say I don't know logic and reasoning, but I'm Shraddha based. But I can prove my Shraddha. And I can prove my Shraddha through logic, which may appear that I'm more logical. Are you able to follow the difference? It may prove, it may look as though it is logical. No, it is Shraddha. Because I'm using logic, not logic is the primary. Shraddha is primary. How do you understand that? That is why we said the third faculty of a human being is Shraddha. Feeling is one, thinking is another, Shraddha is the third. We use logic and reason, but we are not logical. We use logic and reason. So, is devotion to God logic and reasoning? Is Brahman product of logic and reason? If Brahman is not product of logic and reason, how can Brahma Vidya be product of logic and reason? Brahma Vidya has to be necessarily Shraddha based only. But the way that we have the courage to make use of logic, till the end, no others have. Therefore, it appears to be like that. But then it's a covering. It is purely, it's cheating. It's cheating. It is. The logic, it's not cheating. We know how to make use of it to the end. But primarily it is Shraddha. Yes, Ganesh. Solungo.
Sir,
Yeah.
the conclusion is not through logic and reason, but
Yes.
explained by logic and reason. Now you have told, you have proved it. Now you explained this, the difference.
Yes.
That was the doubt. You explained this now. Just now you explained it.
Correct.
It's a Shraddha which comes in and logic and use as an aid.
Yes.
It's not a basic.
It is not basic. It is an aid. Shraddha is the basic.
Yes.
Shraddha is the basic.
For other two, logic and thing is the basic.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We got it, sir.
Narayan, Solungo. I'll come to you. Narayan, Solungo.
Sir, Shraddha is the Pramanam because the entire Veda is Adrishta.
Yes, exactly.
Because an Adrishta is the opposite of Pratyaksha Pramanam.
Exactly correct. Yes. Adrishta is exactly the opposite of it.
Okay. I just want to reconcile.
Yes, exactly correct. Vedas is the entire subject matter of Veda is Adrishta. That's why we say where science stops, inability to proceed any further. Where science hits a dead end, we start from there. Because Vedas is to talk about Adrishta. since the instruments can talk about drishta, why Veda also have to talk about drishta again? There's no need. Therefore, the subject matter of Veda is purely adrishta based. You are right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Alpana.
Sir, mind is the seat of emotions. Intellect is the seat of logic and reason.
Yes.
How does Shraddha reside in a human being?
Don't ask that question. We don't know. That's why it is Shraddha. That's why it is Shraddha. It is there. We all can understand it experientially. Where is it located? Is it located in any of the instruments? No. If it is located in an instrument, then it becomes instrument-based knowledge. If it is located in the mind, then we will say it is part of the emotions. If it is located in the intellect, then we will say it is part of logic and reason. I am calling it as a third because we know it is there. We know it is there, but it cannot be pinpointed into any of these two instruments. Supposing if it is part of an instrument, then we need not discuss it as a third entity at all. Are you able to follow the logic? If it is, supposing if faith is an emotion, if we say, then it's not a third entity, it's part of emotion. Is Shraddha logic and reason? No, Shraddha, logic and reason will be contradicting each other. They'll be fighting with each other. Because Shraddha says it's there. How do you know? Don't ask me how to explain. I know it is there. That is Shraddha. Are you able to follow? How do you know God is there? Don't ask me how to explain. But I know it is. That is Shraddha. Are you able to follow? Vedas use logic and reason as in distinguishing it from where it aids the emotion and intellect is here. By bringing in the bhava, everything, it attends to the emotion. By answering the questions, by answering the doubts, it attends to the intellect. Again, by bringing in the bhava, it takes care of the emotions. By answering the questions, it takes care of logic and reason. I tell you, this Veda and this Shraddha, it's not that difficult to explain, but it's a bit touchy thing. If we understand the two words drishta and adrishta, it becomes very clear. The subject matter of Vedas being adrishta, and adrishta is purely Shraddha based. Like for example, reincarnation. We can only call it as an inferential conclusion, but for Veda, it's a matter of fact. From the angle of Veda, is reincarnation a speculative idea? Science will call it as a speculative idea. All other systems of philosophy will call it as a speculative idea. For Vedas, it is not a speculative idea. It is a fact supported by the logic and reason. But reincarnation is not a pratyaksham, anumanam, pramanam based knowledge. Because it is told by the Shastra there is reincarnation, we know that. Therefore, pramanam for reincarnation is who? The Shastra. Adrishtaitis. Are you able to follow? And if you take all the concepts of Vedas, it is Adrishta based only, isn't it? It is Adrishta based. The law of karma is Adrishta based. How many ever times we hear this law of karma, we still go back thinking I'm a victim, no? We still go back thinking there is injustice, no? How many ever times we hear this karma, we still go back thinking injustice, isn't it? It means pramanam is not yet there. Pramanam is not yet there. For internal transformation to happen, Vedas will be taken as the pramanam. There is this thing called karma. The moment you believe in karma, dharma becomes a highly important factor. Are able to understand the interconnection? When karma is understood, dharma becomes the vital factor. God doesn't become a vital factor there. Dharma becomes a vital factor there. Are able to follow? Therefore, it is a it's a very it's a very unique logic and reason. Again, I'm using the word logic and reason for we don't know any other word. Because we don't know any other word. But I would be happy using the word Shraddha only. It is Shraddha based. It is Shraddha based. Shraddha that can answer, that have the courage and conviction to answer all questions. A faith that can answer all doubts. What do you call that? What would you call that? What word in English can you give to that? There's no English word for that. Sanskrit word is Shraddha. Are you able to follow? A faith that can answer all questions. All that you need to have is some patience. That's all. All that you need to have is some patience. That's all. But everything can be answered. Ramatirtha goes one step ahead, no? He says, if you don't ask any question, we will propose questions and we will go answering questions. It means what a courage it must have. What a courage it must have. What a conviction it must have on what it is saying. That is purely Shraddha. Are you able to follow? Therefore, a Shraddha-based person, you will see him at different caliber. A Shraddha-based person is of a totally different caliber, isn't it? He's so dharmic, he's so logical and he's so logic. His bhavana is good. The dharma is that person will follow dharma to the core, unshaken, unmoved by anything. We want all this. We want all this. But where do we get it from? Here only. Is okay, Alpana? சொல்டா நீ எங்கேந்திரா வந்த இன்னைக்கு
நான் வந்துட்டேன் சார்
நீ எங்கேருந்து வந்த இன்னைக்கு எஸ்
early from office so I came.
எஸ்
Sir, so you are talking about faith in the Vedas and like sometimes we can't even believe what we see.
எஸ்
In a sense it's too good to be true or it seems impossible.
எஸ்
And if I'm having faith in the Vedas or the logic,
எஸ்
the only way is if I keep questioning it.
Yes.
Then it becomes an endless loop. So I will be stuck in that analysis paralysis. So
Yes.
somewhere down the line, I will have to accept that.
Yes.
In the sense, are you talking about have faith that this is the truth, or where will
Correct.
the questioning stop?
Yes. Jayo, analysis paralysis will not happen in Vedanta. Analysis paralysis will happen in all worldly sciences. There will be this analysis paralysis. You will be caught in a loop and you will be just going round and round and round. Why? Because it is predominantly logic based. Anything that is predominantly logic based only will get you into a loop. Anything that is Shraddha based will tell you exactly this is the limitation of it and you will stop it. So analysis paralysis will not happen here. Purida? Analysis paralysis will not happen here because we clearly, logic will tell us exactly the limitation of logic here. Logic is not taken as an absolute authoritative knowledge. Because it will be revealing its limitations, analysis paralysis will not happen here. And the problem in the in worldly sciences, in all worldly methods, ultimate conclusion is analysis paralysis. That's why colloquially they say, don't think too much. Colloquially they say, don't think too much, no? Correct? People generally in the world say, don't think too much, get up and do. Don't think too much, get up and do. Why? Because you will end up in a loop. And that loop is a confusing loop. That loop is not going to give you any clarity. It will just lead you into a dead end again and again and again. Why? Because anything that is purely Anything that is based on Pratyaksham and Anumana Pramanam will create analysis paralysis. Vedanta will not create analysis paralysis because it will be using Pratyaksham and Anumanam, but they are not the ultimate authoritative sources. Therefore, on the problem inga varave varat. Illana, you are right. Illana, you are right. It will be utterly more chaotic here. It will be more chaotic here. Are you able to follow? Chalba. Yes.
You say Veda is predominantly Shraddha and logic is used to support the Shraddha.
Yes.
Since I lack Shraddha and I'm only in the process, predominantly I see you using mostly only logic and reasoning, and they are very convincing also.
Correct.
I am not able to see Shraddha anywhere.
Yes.
So
The question, yes. The question that she is asking is, it looks so logical and reasoning all the time. Where is Shraddha in all these things?
the Veda, I don't see Shraddha only. But I lack Shraddha, so I'm not able to see Shraddha.
Yeah. First thing is to develop Shraddha, to have Shraddha. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Statement number 1. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. Connect the two. Third, pariksha lokan karmachidan brahmano. Pariksha lokan karmachidan brahmano. Third. So, few times we all have to go through this winding path and then experientially understand it is not taking us anywhere. Then Shraddha, then the third faculty of Shraddha will be predominantly activated. Are you able to follow? It takes to have the Shraddha is a very arduous, hard task. Because the first few months of our life, we have Shraddha. Anybody picks up, we will go, isn't it? After 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, the same child will not come, no? Isn't it? Vet moha vandirtu, they say, isn't it? Meaning, it knows to distinguish between a stranger and it knows how to distinguish between a visitor, stranger, and its parents. Therefore, when a visitor and stranger comes, it will not go there. It will not go to the visitor. It will not go to the stranger. Or, in order to make the child come, what you have to do? Tempt the child, isn't it? Ice cream, isn't it? Gift, tempt the child. Are you able to follow? Even without us knowing, 95% of our life is Shraddha based only. Even without us knowing, 95% of our life is Shraddha based only. How do you say that? He gives examples. You sit in an aircraft. Logically speaking, the logical possibility of an accident is how much? Every time the flight takes off. What is the logical possibility of an accident? Every time you go out of the house, what is the logical possibility of you coming back? Always there is a possibility that it can crash, isn't it? Now, if you start thinking like this, is the analysis paralysis. Clear? This is analysis paralysis. Are you able to follow? But then we sit there. Why? Because Shraddha. Shraddha in the most of us have traveled in flights a lot. Has anybody incurred turbulence and masks falling down? Oh, that is the time of real Shraddha, isn't it? That's the type of real Shraddha. Even turbulence is not the real Shraddha. Sometimes the masks and all will fall down, isn't it? At that time, what do you do? At that time, what are able to follow? So 95% of the time we live life purely based on Shraddha. What Vedas say is what? That 5% is a superficial layer of you. That Pratyaksham Anumana Pramana personality is 5% is a superficial layer in you. And to break through that superficial layer is a bit difficult. Once you break through that superficial layer, you will come to a very good understanding about life. What is it? It is 95%. It is 95% Shraddha based only. Therefore, we have no problems in accepting all of us live life only through Shraddha. Isn't it? We live life only through Shraddha. Yeah, we can come and say there are scientific methodologies have come, certifications are there, this is there, that is there. But at the end of it, logically speaking, all can fail. How much ever you plan, it can still go wrong, isn't it? Like I was giving the example the other day, isn't it? When they planned to capture the terrorist, one thing they couldn't account for is they didn't plan for the helicopter crash. Now, what do you do in that helicopter crash now? Isn't it? And their planning is not just 1 or 2 days, huh? Meticulous planning. Oh my God. You see those documentaries and everything, and all based on Shraddha. And then they asked, nobody knew whether he's in that building or not. So they asked, what are the chances? 50-50. Now, what do you do now? Are you going to risk so much for the 50-50%? On what basis you take a decision? Shraddha only. Are you able to follow? Therefore, it is predominantly Shraddha based. Superficial layer of it is this. But ultimately speaking, it is entirely Shraddha. And in Vedas, in Vedanta, is a beautiful subject where it knows how to rightly make use of Shraddha. Just as intellect has to be rightly made use of, emotions has to be rightly made use of, Shraddha also has to be rightly used. Are you able to follow? Vedas helps here. That's where Shraddha is an important aspect of it. Okay? Venkatachalam. Yeah, unmute Venkatachalam. Who has to unmute?
Yes, it's unmuted. My question is
Yeah.
it because here in Vedanta, we
Yes.
try to understand the subject, not the
Yes.
object.
Yes.
So normally we use our ego
Yes.
to understand.
Yes.
It is something that we go beyond.
Yes.
That's the reason in the early stages, unless the ego is completely negated,
Yes.
we cannot comprehend that
cannot.
there is something here. So
Yeah.
at that stage, we need only the faith.
Exactly.
Continue the pursuit.
Yes. You are correct. For every sciences, ego is the subject which is very clear. In Vedanta, ego itself becomes the object. If ego itself has become the object, then who's the true subject? All other sciences will call this question absurd. They will say, if ego itself becomes the object, then who's asking the question? Who's asking the question? Who's going to answer that question? That's a logical loop that we get stuck in. No. We say, no. If ego itself becomes the object, then who is the subject? for which they come and say there is a subject. There is a subject, and that subject is beyond the Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate. It cannot be explained, but it can be revealed. It can't be explained, but it can be revealed. When it is revealed, not as a matter of blind faith, but after going through a rigorous discipline. Anything that is revealed after a rigorous discipline and knowledge and understanding cannot come under blind faith. Correct?
Yes, and with the grace.
Yes.
Finally, with the grace.
Finally, the grace. In fact, we say it is the grace that is even allowing me to start. In grace is right through invisible. At one point, grace becomes very visible. The adrishta grace, in the initial stages where the grace is adrishta, at some point in time, the grace becomes drishta. At some point in time, it becomes drishta. Therefore, it is very, very clearly we distinguish it. In order to clearly distinguish it, the contents of the Shastra itself will be divided into sections. Will be studied so thoroughly, analytically. Then you'll come back and say, where is Shraddha here? It's very logical. No. Where is Shraddha here? It is logical. No. Wait. The logic is to clear the doubts of the mind. The logic is not revealing Brahman. Carefully follow the difference. The logic is not revealing Brahman. The logic is to clear the doubts of the mind. Logic is not to reveal Brahman. Are you able to understand the difference? If logic is to reveal Brahman, then that becomes predominant. No. Logic is used to remove the doubts. Because when the doubts are removed, words become authoritative. Carefully follow that. For the words to become authoritative, all doubts must be removed, isn't it? And when there is a person sitting and when there is a person sitting and revealing this, explaining these words, it becomes all the more acceptable. Doubts gets removed. But ultimately what reveals? No, logic doesn't reveal. That's where we leave logic aside here. Are you able to follow? Logic doesn't reveal Brahman. Logic is to remove the doubts of what? Is Shastra a pramanam like pratyaksham and anumanam? Is the doubt. Always the doubt is what? Is Shastra a pramanam like pratyaksham and anumanam? Is Guru and Shastra a pramanam like pratyaksham and anumanam? Vedas comes and says, pratyaksham and anumanam cannot deal with this, what we are dealing with. They are not inferior. Vedas don't call it as inferior. The subject matter is different. Because the subject matter is different, appropriate instrument has to be used. Because the subject matter is adrishta, the appropriate faculty of Shraddha has to be used. Are you able to follow? If it is used rightly, it reveals. Therefore, we cannot call it as blind faith because it reveals after a rigorous discipline, isn't it? Tapas. It reveals itself through yajna, dana, tapas, what all preparatory sadhana, chatushtaya, sampad, what all preparatory practices that we are talking about. When a person is going through or has gone through these preparatory disciplines, for that person, is it a matter of blind faith? No. For that person, it's a matter of conviction. For others, it's a matter of memorizing. For others, it's a matter of memorizing and scoring also, isn't it? For Newton, gravity may be a matter of conviction. For me, gravity is only memorizing and scoring marks. That's all. I still believe I can escape gravity, isn't it? I still believe that. Are you able to follow the difference? For the rest, it's different. Therefore, the topic, role of Shraddha. Role of Shraddha. Even though it is only 2 paragraphs in the book, so much of message is conveyed. All this can't be written in a book form. In a classroom like this, we have the luxury of elaborating it and going into the details. Therefore, Shraddha itself is a pramanam by itself. Just as Pratyaksham and Anumanam is a pramanam by itself, color and form is revealed through eyes. Shastra is revealed through Shraddha. Shastra is revealed through Shraddha. Therefore, Krishna, beautifully, I can never get tired of repeating it. Shraddhavan labate jnanam, Shraddhavan labate jnanam, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. Such a Shraddha they talk about that. This is the role of faith. We still have, I still have 2 more things to talk about it. We'll continue next week. Yes.